Hello, everyone.
Oh, not yet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Cooking Connected. My name is Dionne Heider. I'm a SNAP Ed educator with the University of Minnesota Extension. And also today we have...
Hello, my name is Anna, and I'm also a SNAP Ed educator with U of M Extension.
And we are excited to be here with you again today. Anna will be showing us how to prepare a baked oatmeal dish, and I'll be going over a little nutrition education about added sugars. Just as a reminder, if this is your first time joining us, this is part of the Cooking Matters program. And traditionally, Cooking Matters classes are a 6-week class. Each week, the participants of a Cooking Matters class cook together, either virtually or in person, and learn a little bit about different nutrition and physical activities. So check out more on the Cooking Matters website or Facebook page if you're curious. We also have a survey for today's class. So if you could, at the end of class, do us a great favor and fill out our survey. We'll put that in the chat as well. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Anna.
Great. Thanks, Dion. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. As Dion mentioned, today we are going to be making baked oatmeal. And this is a really great recipe to have on hand for breakfast. It could even be a snack for later in the day. Pretty minimal ingredients and packed with nutrients. So this recipe is one of our U of M extension recipes, and you can find this. We'll post it in the chat, and then also you can find it on our Real Life Good Food website under the recipe tab. So without further ado, we can get started. So I have my ingredients set over here to the side. And we are first going to be combining our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients. And before this started, I preheated the oven and I have my baking dish ready to go for the baked oatmeal. So the first thing we are going to do is measure out 3 cups of quick oats. Now, usually when I would eat oatmeal like plain, I prefer more of the old-fashioned oats, so not quite as processed and small as the quick oats. But quick oats are really great for baking for this recipe, and then also if you're doing like pancakes or other baked goods like that. So we have our quick oats in here. I'm gonna add some brown sugar. This recipe, if you have young ones at home who might be interested in cooking or baking with you, this is a great recipe to do. There's not, any chopping involved and a lot of measuring. So it's really great practice for kids to be able to measure out, especially a lot of these like dry ingredients, very kid friendly. So we have brown sugar. Now we are going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we have 1 teaspoon of salt. And then our final dry ingredient is cinnamon. And we are doing a teaspoon of cinnamon. All right, so we have all of our dry ingredients mixed now, and I'm going to give that a quick stir. We're going to switch now and move on to our wet ingredients. So in here, that will be the butter or margarine, eggs, milk, and applesauce. So I'll start by putting in our butter. And with this, the recipe says to blend it. So if you have like a little hand mixer, that would work great for this. But if you don't, can just use like a fork to kind of mash everything together. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I have the margarine in here. We'll crack 2 eggs. I'm going to give my hands a little rinse since I got egg on them. All right, so eggs and then applesauce. We are doing a half cup of applesauce. All right. And then if you're following along on the directions, you'll notice that it says to mix these together first before we add the milk. So we will do that. And then we are going to be doing 1 cup of skim milk. Oat milk or another kind of dairy-free milk would also work in this recipe. All right. Now we are going to do milk. Give that a good stir. And this recipe, it has to bake for about 30 minutes. So we won't be seeing the end product today on the live stream. However, I will be sure to take a photo and post it later so you can see. All right, so that is nice and mixed, and we are going to add the wet ingredients now into the dry mixture. Oats are a favorite thing of mine to cook with and have for breakfast. They are a whole grain, and by nature, they are gluten-free. However, if you have like a gluten intolerance, it is important to check the label and look for oats that are specified as gluten-free, because occasionally they're processed in plants that process goods that do have gluten in them. So there may be cross-contamination. So checking for that if that is something you are concerned about, but by nature, they are a gluten-free product, and they are packed with fiber, B vitamins, iron, so a really great nutrient dense, low calorie, low fat item.
And that fiber makes them a great option for breakfast, because we want that fiber to help us stay full, keep our blood sugar stable throughout the day. So it's great to start our mornings with a high fiber breakfast.
Yes. All right. And we are going to add some fruit in here to give it a little more flavor and make it a little bit sweeter. So in the ingredients, you'll see that it suggests any kind of chopped fruit. So apples, banana. Today we're going to use blueberries. Dried fruits like raisins or cranberries would be great in here. I think nuts would be great in here too. So really whatever you have on hand would be great to put in. And it could be fresh fruit, frozen, canned. Today I have some frozen blueberries that we're going to put in, and then a little bit of banana, because I thought that would be a good combination. So I'm going to measure out about a cup of blueberries. Do a few more for a good measure. And then I'm going to just chop up some banana to mix in there as well.
Cutting banana is another great one to have young kids help with because bananas cut so easily. You could use just a butter knife or even a plastic knife to cut them.
Yeah, and not only is this a great source of whole grains, there's dairy in here and then fruit as well. So you're really getting a well-rounded meal with this recipe.
Now we talk about the different food groups on the My Plate. So we're getting at least 3 of those different groups in this one meal.
Mm-hmm.
Does this recipe have any spices in it, Anna?
It has cinnamon. And I feel like, nutmeg or any kind of spice like that would also be good in here.
Cardamom I like to put in warm dishes like that.
That would be good.
Really a fun one to experiment with.
Yeah. I could see like a pumpkin pie spice being good in here too, maybe. Good, maybe fall recipe. All right. So we are ready to go. Looks good. It smells really good. Get this in here. Oats are also a good non-meat source of protein. So like this or the oats combined with the milk that's in this recipe actually makes this a pretty good, a serving of this would be a good portion of protein. And you could use just about any size baking dish with this. If you have a smaller one, it'll just be a little bit thicker. This will turn out to be more of kind of a thin bar. But whatever you have available would work. You would just might have to adjust the baking time and, stick a toothpick in there to make sure that it's done. All right. So have this all done, ready to go. I'm going to pop this in the oven and set the timer for 30 minutes. And this, when it's done, depending on the size of your pan, you'll have, probably anywhere from 8 to 12 servings. And so it's a great thing to have for leftovers throughout the week. You can keep it in the fridge and then warm it up when you're ready to have it. Or if you don't think you'll eat it quick enough before it, goes bad, you could always stick it in the freezer too. So a good thing to make ahead for meal prepping. And while we wait, I'm going to turn it over to Dion to share our nutrition education topic for the day.
Hi, I am back. We have a little activity. So like I mentioned at the beginning, our nutrition topic today is about added sugars. And sugars are found in a lot of different things that we consume. But there are issues with having too much sugar. So having too much sugar can lead to weight gain, high blood pressure, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol. And when we're consuming a lot of our calories through sugar, it's harder for us to get all the vitamins and minerals we need. So I have a little activity here that can help us determine exactly how much sugar is in some of the products that we consume, because a lot of times it's kind of hiding in there. So I picked out a few different things that we might find sugar in today. So one of them is a chocolate bar. And no particular chocolate bar. This is just one that I had. But any kind of chocolate or candy can have sugar in it. I have a drink. This one is a Mountain Dew, but soda is often very high in sugar. But soda isn't the only thing high in sugar. Fruit juices, teas, Lots of our drinks can be a place where we get a ton of sugar and don't even necessarily realize it. And then other packaged products. So this is a barbecue sauce, for example, but sugar can be found in things like tomato sauce, in our breakfast cereals. Lots of different things have added sugar in them that we might not necessarily expect. So we can look at any of these packages on the back. If we look at the nutrition facts, that can tell us how much sugar is in our product. And when it's on here, it'll be in the form of grams. So this product has 20 grams of total sugar, and that says includes 18 grams of added sugar. So added sugar is sugar that's been added in the processing of the product and wasn't naturally occurring. Sugar naturally occurs in things like fruit and milk. So that's where we're getting 20 grams of sugar. That's probably from the milk in this chocolate. And the additional 18 grams is on top of that. And those added sugars are the ones we're really most concerned with because it's the more processed sugar. It's the ones that are going to spike our blood sugar more quickly. So that's the one we're going to pay attention to here. We're going to pay attention to all that added sugar in here. So I can look at this 20 grams of sugar, but that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot to me. I can't necessarily picture grams. So we have a little trick. 4 grams of sugar is about the same as 1 teaspoon of sugar. So 1 teaspoon of sugar I can measure out here. This is an activity you can try at home too. It's especially good for kids so they can kind of realize how much sugar. So I've got a big thing of sugar here. I'm going to measure out 1 teaspoon of sugar. So for those 4 grams of sugar equals a teaspoon, I had 20 grams of sugar in that chocolate. So I'm going to put in 5 teaspoons of sugar. 20 divided by 4. You got to do a little math in your head here. 3, 4. Okay, so I had 4 teaspoons of sugar in that chocolate. But here's the thing. If I go back to this nutrition panel, it says there are 3 servings in this container, which means there are 20 grams of sugar per serving of this chocolate. A serving is only 4 pieces. If I wanted to eat this whole chocolate bar, I might have to add it. So I'm going to multiply that 5 teaspoons times 3 to get all 3 servings. So I got to add in additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would give me 2 servings. Another serving. Okay, if I had that whole bar of chocolate, I'm trying to get you some perspective on it here. I would be consuming all this sugar. And when I scoop it out like this, I don't think about eating this much raw sugar, but that would be if I ate this whole bar of chocolate. So it kind of helps to visualize it in this way. You can also measure just with sugar cubes, which is what I'm going to use for the rest of this in the interest of time. 1 teaspoon is about equal to 1 sugar cube as well. So let's look at the barbecue sauce next. So this barbecue sauce, it has 16 grams of sugar, a little less than our chocolate bar. And that's per serving size of 2 tablespoons. So if I were going to use more than 2 tablespoons of my barbecue sauce here, I would have to multiply that. But for the sake of this, let's just say we're going to have 1 serving. So I have 16 grams of sugar. That means I'm going to have approximately 4 of our sugar cubes here. So just in a little bit of barbecue sauce that we might think is not a real source of sugar. We're not having dessert. Maybe this is just something we're having with our meal, but we're already getting this much sugar. so let's turn and look at our soda. This is just a can of soda. Of course, sometimes they come in even bigger cartons. But in this can of soda, it has 46 grams of sugar. So if I divide 46 by 4, I get about 11 and a half. So we'll put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know if I can break one of these in half. We'll just throw it in there. So we'd be consuming this much sugar in just one can of soda. If I have more than one can of soda, I have to multiply this by 2 or 3 or 4, however many cans of soda I'm going to have in a day. And that really adds up. It's recommended that we get pretty small amounts of sugar in our diet. It's not something our bodies actually need at all. For kids, it's recommended that kids have less than 25 grams of sugar a day. So that's only about 6 teaspoons. Okay, so if we had, let's say, our kid had some barbecue sauce and then maybe a couple sips of soda, we'd already be at that recommended limit for sugar in the day. So you can see where it really adds up quickly. I'm going to switch my screen here so you can see my face again. Oops. 1 second. Okay, so what I wanted to also suggest is that there are ways we can cut back on added sugar. So think about those drinks that you have. Maybe you're not going to choose to drink soda as often because of the high added sugar content. Other things you can try if you still like that carbonation, there are a lot of sugar-free carbonated waters. You can try juice has some added sugar. You can water down juice for your kids to help decrease how much sugar they're getting. If you love that sweetness, try whole fruit. Like Anna put those blueberries and bananas in our oatmeal this morning. That can be a great way to get extra sweetness in your day without having to add so much sugar. And then always just check the back of those labels. Like I said, even things like spaghetti sauce will have surprisingly high levels of sugar in them. So really turn that package around. If it helps you to do the math, divide by 4 and see how many teaspoons of sugar is in this product. That can be just a little easier to visualize than our grams. And then you can make some swaps. So rather than some sweet crackers, maybe choose some whole grain crackers. Those typically, we can find ones that don't have added sugar. When we choose canned fruit, choose canned fruits that are canned in juice rather than in syrup. And then things like yogurt, choose plain yogurt. You can always add a little fruit to sweeten it up rather than getting that flavored yogurt that comes already in the package. All right, I think that's all I have on added sugar. Anna, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'll take these last few minutes. Thanks, Dion, for the demonstration. That visual is so helpful. Just as we're looking at nutrition facts labels, all of the numbers on there, it's hard to know what they mean. So having a visual to see is really helpful. And kind of in light of talking about added sugar, I want to cover just one more topic or recipe. I have here what we call overnight oats. And oatmeal, it's a great breakfast. However, in a lot of like the oatmeal packs that you might buy at the store, there's generally a lot of added sugar in there. So that's another place that you can look and see how much sugar you're getting in those. So a way to cut down on some of that added sugar is, and still have that single serving. So if you're by yourself and you just want one serving of oatmeal versus like the baked oatmeal that we're making, this is a great option. So what I have here is just a mason jar. And then last night I put oats, milk, some cinnamon, and blueberries in here and let it sit overnight. So the oats really soak up the cinnamon flavor and the milk. And then I just dish it out into a jar or into a bowl. And you have your oatmeal all ready to go. I usually like to add some nuts to it to give just a little more flavor and to add some protein to it, but you could add other fruit or dried fruit, whatever you have on hand. And so this recipe, super easy. You really just need a bowl, a jar, anything will really work. And the ratio is equal parts oats to milk, or you could use water, but I think milk gives it a little better texture, and you get more nutrients that way too. So equal parts oats, milk. I usually add some cinnamon for some flavor, and then any toppings that you would like, and you get a nice serving that's all ready to go for you in the morning. So for people like myself who I'm usually running out the door in the morning, this is really convenient to have, so I don't have to worry about making something for breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, we talk a lot about meal prepping, and if you can help your future self out by preparing in advance, it can make it much easier to choose the healthy option.
Yes, I agree. Well, that is all I have today. A lot with oats. They're a great thing to work with. So we're excited to hear if you make either of these recipes. Let us know and how it goes, or what adjustments you make to make it work for you.
Yes, and please, if you haven't gotten a chance, submit our survey. We can put it again in the chat. And please join us next week as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.